Hey everybody, Fab4 here with some more Mechabellum, and today I figured I'd show you a game where I kind of struggled a little bit. I spent a lot of time thinking, and that honestly ended up not doing well for me in the end. I either wasted the time clock, and I ended up just doing kind of just not bad decisions, I would say, but they're definitely poor ones, and I definitely could have been better. In this game here, I'm going against Marksmode Assaultman. He has picked a Giant Specialist, and I am running with the Rhino Specialist. Still trying to play a bit more aggro. It seems to be the most fun. When I do standard, it gets a little boring, I feel like. Which it kind of, you can say the same thing about aggro. You kind of do about the same thing. But I like the action to just kind of be going, right up in the face, getting stuff going right away. Standard, you're kind of just waiting for stuff to happen. All right, so getting into this first round here, we can see I set up my forward front here just right on the line, going tarantulas and crawlers with a couple marksmen to pick up. Hoping the marksman might be able to take out these storm callers after I clear out all the chaff. Problem is, though, I did not account for the left side. I had 3 crawlers. I could have easily placed one over here by the tower, and that would have helped slow this down a little bit, because we're going to see here in a second that right when this tower goes down, it slows down the tarantulas enough and the marksman, so now these storm callers just have free reign over all of my units. Now, I do end up taking his tower, but, I mean, it's not going to be enough. Okay, on to round 2, and this is where the fun starts. Mostly because you start getting your cards and your possible unit drops, so that's always exciting here. We're getting a redeploy, improved firepower, advanced missile, device, and heavy armor. Looking at this here, advanced missile is not really going to be super great for me. He's not playing aggro, so I can't really place a really high-powered missile in the front. If anything, it's just going to take out some crawlers. Could be smart for maybe if he starts to try putting units closer, but he's already going to be playing the range game on me, especially with storm callers. Redeployment can be nice if I want to start maybe moving some units over this way if I want to protect my left a little bit. Heavy armor, just if I want some more beefier stuff. Make some really high HP tarantulas, possibly. But then there's also the improved firepower. If I'm going aggro, I'm kind of just looking for damage too. Take out his stuff faster. We can see here my opponent picks up the redeployment, and I go for the improved firepower. And we're actually going to see him, I believe it's these storm callers right here. He's going to go ahead and switch him over to this right side here, since it makes more sense, keep all your firepower together. These ones are going to be able to start shooting faster. Plus, they might be able to hit this tarantula sooner too. For me, I go ahead and unlock Fangs just because it's a nice free unlock. Sometimes you might be able to use them for later on too. And I figured this was just kind of a luck of the draw too. He moved the storm callers over. And I figured, you know what? I didn't win this front here, so why don't I try flanking his backside on this left? That way it can kind of start putting pressure over here. It also pulls these crawlers away so that they're not going towards the tower right away. I think I'm still going to get a few of them if you look over here. We'll see here in a second. Some of them are definitely going to go over to the other side. Maybe a handful, like 6 or so, or 9. And also just a quick little missile over this tower, just in case I don't get everything. And I hold on to the improved firepower. I think I'm looking for more of a unit that's going to be able to use this more effectively. Tarantula has the possibility to use it. Well, right now all they're doing is chaff clear, so I don't need them to be doing high damage to anything. It looks like over here that the left side is doing work. It's clearing out all the crawlers so that I'm not losing the tower. The problem is, though, since he moved the storm callers over, they're able to actually lock onto these tarantulas. And since he put the shield up, these tarantulas are actually locking onto the shield first while they're trying to hit the Fang. And then by the time they get the one Fang that is there, the crawlers are already surrounding him doing damage. And at this point, there's not really any coming back from this. Almost 2 full Stormcaller packs. As soon as they get in range of this Tarantula, it's going to be gone. And he even gets rid of my missile, too. On to round 3. And already it's not looking super great. I've already lost a couple rounds now, even being on aggro, which When you're playing aggro, you want to be the one putting on the pressure because you want to be making your opponent answer you. And right now, I'm pretty much trying to answer him with something to get through. I tried doing a flank. That didn't do too well just because my front's not really winning anyways, so it's not going to be the best. Getting a shield here is kind of nice. Might allow me a little extra defense. Going a bit aggro unless I really feel like I'm trying to push an extended range War Factory, but probably not. This Elite Steel Balls are a possibility. My opponent actually picks them up. Just because I have some chaff clear with the Tarantulas, the only issue is there's still a bunch of extra chaff back here. So if I can't clear this out, then they'll just kind of get caught up, and then the Stormcallers will just rain on them. Plus now they're getting rank 2, possibly. It's going to make it that much harder for me to get through, because these might be able to take them out if I'm caught on all the chaff. Could have been a better pickup, though, and I still kind of haven't found a use for this improved firepower system. And I actually find one, finally. I decide to answer his Stormcallers with my own, and make them just a little bit stronger by giving them an extra 70% attack boost. And another Tarantula, too. Just to cover this flank, hold off some crawlers, and even pull all this extra chaff back here so that my units have less chaff to go through. He also didn't rank up the Stormcallers, which seems to be kind of a normal thing to do. Unless you're really worried about, like, having really high damage out. Like, he doesn't really need to rank them up, but it could also be really strong tempo in the end, too. The Stormcallers actually help out with taking out the shield as well. But then again, and now we get back to this, my tower is just completely open. And once he takes that, it's just going to make my board that much weaker. Now my Stormcallers get distracted by his fast-moving units. They can take the tower and just run right in. Plus the Steel Balls, they would be able to take out the shield. But I mean, the Stormcallers would do the same thing too, so it didn't really matter. Alright, we finally get our first unit drop here on round 4. I also get my Rhino from my Specialist over here. And at this point, I'm still kind of struggling with trying to figure out what to do against his board. He was able to pick up a unit that countered my whole board. Because right now, his Stormcallers and his chaff are clearing out my own chaff, whereas I'm still struggling to take out his chaff. I did get Stormcallers to kind of like do something, because there is bangs right here. But I mean, my 1-pack versus his 2, it's not going to be enough, and then these crawlers just come right in and take care of the rest of my units. And if he gets more Steel Balls, they can just go in and just laser the rest of my stuff. So now that I got a Rhino and I'm playing aggro, I figured it's time to maybe start pushing this other tower. I think there's a fair chance I'm just going to be picking up the Saber to do Saber Cash. Arc Lights could be good for some strong chaff clear, which my opponent picks it up, which is smart. He just needs that little extra chaff clear. Now these crawlers I have set up are pretty much just not going to do anything. I think the reason I don't pick up these here is because his Stormcallers, they'll just, if they hit this stuff, if I don't place the Arc Lights just right, the Stormcallers will take out the Arc Lights. Farseers, I don't run Missile Intercept on them. I've kind of been leaning a little bit away from Farseers lately. They haven't been as good of a unit as I like them to be. So, of course, I decided to grab the Sabertooth, sell it for cash, and grab a Crawler to set in front of this Rhino and a couple Elite Wasps. And I decide that it's time to just go for this other tower. If I can take this, it's going to help out my units with taking out his. Looks like my opponent has luckily placed some more chaff in front of his other tower, so it's going to slow me down a little bit. This Rhino should possibly make it up there, but he's also going to get slowed down. And now the Steel Balls are already coming over. So as soon as they get close enough, they'll lock on and just melt him. My right side's doing a bit better. We're actually able to get up to the front, and the fact that he wasn't able to get to my tower, and I even took his, and his other tower too, is definitely going to help out in this round for me. And now with him having just a little pack of fangs, it should be an easy cleanup. Okay, on to round 4, and I'm finally able to kind of even out the life a little bit. I think he had a higher starting life total, so mine looking a little bit low is just how it's going to be. We're getting an underground threat, great for aggro. Orbital bombardment is also not a bad choice. I do have a Rhino already. Problem is he does have steel balls, so I don't really want to just make more of them. If anything, it'd probably be a good idea to sell this guy and maybe even make another one, put him somewhere else, or just forget about him entirely and try to maybe focus on the wasps instead. And photon coating is kind of more of hit or miss, only if you really need that protection from something. I'm picking up the orbital bombardment. My opponent is grabbing the underground threat. He already knows that right now my towers are undefended from behind, and I haven't done any leveling on them. So if he can just get some of these in here, it's going to be guaranteeing him an easy win. Whereas for me, I'm just trying to clear off his board as well, so that my units can just get in. Because as long as these can survive longer, the rest of his board is weaker against this board than this other one. I also know that I already pushed this left side, so I need to maybe focus on going to the right. So instead of selling this Rhino, I decide to just move him over. And I bring my wasps here to the back, so that way they kind of just come into some late chaff. We also see that the opponent had some crawlers over here, and he actually moved them to my flank. Since this, again, this tower is completely open from behind. And we can see here now that we're getting down to the last 9 seconds, and I'm finally picking up some units, grabbing some tech. And these are kind of just hasty pickups, which is not a very good thing. You'd rather be going with a set plan instead of just kind of doing things. Like, this is obvious, just a click. Like, oh, spider mines. It seems like a good idea. They get in, they blow up things. The problem is, like, these arc lights can take them out. And I kind of just put them behind so that they kind of just have chaff running in. So it's kind of like my answering my lack of chaff right now. I try to set up a missile here to help defend, just because I'm thinking he's going to do this anyways. My wasps do kind of help clear out this right side. The problem is, though, he has 2 waves coming in here, and this tower ain't going to survive. The orbital, though, does really good work on the right side of his board, clearing out his chaff. And now these spider mines are actually doing really good against these steel balls. The only problem is the steel balls from the left side are now able to push in, and I'm not able... I lose a tarantula. But this tarantula actually takes a tower. And at this point, the wasps just clear up all of his chaff. And the marksmen finish off the arc lights and other units. As well as just getting some free spider mines, too. So a good couple rounds now for me. Okay, we are on to round 6. We get another unit drop now. A couple of giant units, a couple fortresses, sandworms, more farseers, and a wraith. I mean, honestly, looking at my board, your first thought is, you know, okay, Worm's going to be bad against steel balls. He's got 2 packs from now, rank 3. Fortress is technically weak against that too, so it's probably not the best idea unless I have more chaff in the front to, you know, to take the shots. Problem is, I barely have anything. The only thing making chaff is more tarantulas, and Fort Tarantula is not really the best combo just because they can't really help clear out chaff in the front, as well as other units, say, like Fangs or Mustangs. The Farseer could be something. It's a rank 3, so that's actually a decent amount of damage they can put out. And it might be able to help out with dealing with these Stormcallers if I get through, or even the Arc Lights. The Steel Balls might become an issue, though, because their attack speed's just a little too slow. And these are having just a little too much high health to where it doesn't really equal out. The Wraith? Honestly, the Wraith is not a bad pickup either. I could set up the Wraith right in the middle. Kind of, it'll just go forward. It'll help. It's actually better chaff clear than these tarantulas right now. And the spider mines might clear these out, and then it just goes in and kind of clears out everything else. He doesn't really have anything to shoot up besides Fangs. All right, my opponent picking up a couple fortresses here. And going along with how I've been playing lately, we're getting down to 70 seconds now, so I've spent 20 seconds really thinking about what I want to pick up, and I end up grabbing the Farseer, so I'm doing a little better. I'm starting to move a little bit faster, getting my upgrades done. But then again, we kind of see myself doing a little bit of slowdown. I have now actually sold both the tarantulas now, because They're not really doing anything, especially this one on the right just gets steel balled out. He moved his other steel balls, but that was last round because I sold the Tarantula from before. And again, now I'm just kind of just sitting here. I've yet to move the Farseer. Oh, there it goes. Finally moves it. But now we're down to 30 seconds. I still have 1,000 money left over. Opponent's starting to pick up his extra units now that he's going to use. Just set up a nice front chaff line with Fangs, because they can even go well with the Fortress, so we can do Fang Fortress and another Fortress for him. And now I'm just like, okay, I'm just blundering. Let's just grab more Wasps with Shield and beacon them to tower. I'm down to like 5 seconds. And we can see how close I get. Like, this is a poor use of time. And now, guess what's going to happen? Here come the crawlers from behind because I didn't do anything about them because I forgot. There goes the tower. It's going to weaken all my units. Now these Wasps pretty much aren't going to do anything. And these Fangs, even with the shields on them, it's not going to help them out. They're not going to be able to survive that much damage. And now, I mean, look, I only have units left in a bubble. There's no way I'm going to be winning this round. Bad thing, too, is this actually going to help his Fangs get levels. And as soon as those Fangs start getting levels, it just means that they can protect the fortresses that much better. Alright, we're on to round 7, and it's not looking good. I'm spending a lot of time thinking about what I want to do instead of having an actual plan set in motion. And I think that kind of happens to a lot of people. You kind of start being like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you start just kind of just clicking buttons just to see what they do. You're like, oh, I'll click this button. Oh, I'll click this button next. I'll click this button. When you got to be like, okay, what actually does anything against this board? Does he have any weak spots right now? What can I do to exploit him? No, obviously, yeah. He has this over here, so I can't really do an efficient flank, but like crawlers maybe can help out because they can just kind of push in. Maybe even doing like impact drill replicate, because that even gives me more chaff too. He does have arc lights, and that could start giving him, you know, in a way like arc light carry too, especially if he gets elite marksman with a charge shot. Maybe not charge shot as much, but just even elite marksman. Now they can start just kind of taking out everything. And he has these Fangs to deal with the Wasps. My opponent getting a nice assault fortress, that's going to help him out. There's a super supply enhancement. I mean, the game's going to be over here in the next round or two, so I might be able to get one good use out of it. The only thing is, I'm pretty much one round out. It's 704 life. So that's not really worth it. And yeah, at this point, I'd rather just take money now. I'm sitting here at 1600. We're down to 65 seconds left. I finally placed a missile for the first time over on this left side to deal with these crawlers after a couple rounds. And again, now we kind of just see myself. I'm just sitting here thinking he's grabbing upgrades that he wants. More upgrades, and I've yet to spend a single bit of cash. At least I know the Wasps are possibly my best answer right now. So I decided to grab the extra ground damage by 200%. And I'm hoping now that I can try to push through. I also decided to shield this right tower, just in case he tries to do, I don't know, something. I think this was kind of just a little bit of a blunder. You know, all my units are here. If there is going to be something back here, it'd be better for a missile in the back. I also look at his board and decide, where is he weak at? Well, there's a little corner right here I can kind of just sneak into. So I'm going to give that a shot. I also decided to get range on the Tarantula just to kind of help out with chaff clear. And we're going to see the next blunder from just thinking too much. I get these crawlers. I set them up over here as a distraction for steel balls, but he moved them. And I forget to move the other ones, and they're now just stuck in the middle. So I'm able to pull this chaff over on the right side. The Wasps are kind of doing a little bit more. The Fangs are clearing out the rank 1s really easily. The steel balls having this range is actually really bad for me now because they can lock onto these targets from really far away. They are almost all gone though. Only a few left. And I think these Stormcallers are actually going to be just enough. But now my Wasps come in from behind. And I don't think he has enough Fangs to deal with them. And I'm just barely able to pull this one around. Hey, getting a tower too. It's always nice. Little extra XP isn't bad. So on to round 8. I'm finally able to stabilize. You know, look at this. I mean, the only pickup here that's going to be working for me is this orbital. And it's an instant pickup at this point. I'm starting to kind of put the pieces together. I think I get lucky here with my opponent grabbing intensive training. I think in his mind he's thinking, well, if I just get these forts higher ranked, they're not going to, you know, die as fast. He also picks up a shield because now, even with the orbital, this is kind of like grabbing a shield drop anyways. A little more pricier, but, you know, you're thinking you're paying about 500 for 3 shields. Not the best, but you're also getting a nice fortress on top of it too, technically. We can actually see me doing a little bit of anti-orbital play. Because my thought is he's going to pick this up too, because if he clears off this right side of my board, he just wins. Like, my only other unit that I have going on right now is Wasps. And if these are the only thing on the board, anything that lives over here will just take him out. So I decided to place him in the middle here. And I also grab a Vulcan. 2 of them. Because right now I need to clear off his chaff, because what do I have for chaff clear? Tarantulas with range and spider mines? Yeah, that ain't going to be enough. Whereas right now, all of my units that I'm using right now are just going in the air. So they're going to fly over there. And I decide to send him down the middle in case he does a bomb right here or a orbital right here. And I'm trying to, like, avoid it. And I place a missile here to try and take out these Fangs, but, you know, he has a shield now, so it doesn't really matter. And I protect my flank as well. The Vulcans are able to do some work against the Crawlers there. Get rid of some chaff. He does actually end up picking up some Mustangs. But we're going to see this orbital over here, just same thing as last time. It just wiped out his whole board. And I don't think he had enough Mustangs to deal with these Wasps, especially with, you know, rank 4 with a shield. I still think they have just a high enough DPS to do that. He might have needed to grab, like, AA or range on him. Plus, now I'm just making some extra spider mines to just do some more damage. We take out that last Crawler. And... oh, we're just barely able to do that. Down to negative 35. Like, if I didn't get this round, I guarantee you that I probably would have lost the next one. Without that orbital, I was pretty much done for. Because it cleared off all of his chaff, his Mustangs. He didn't have any Stormcallers, he sold out of them, but it did help clear out some extra stuff on the side. He did grab the AA on the Mustangs, but I think the fact that I had such high rank Wasps, like 2 rank 4s, I just don't think it's going to be enough damage. If you want to do some math here, you know, 82 every 0.4 seconds. So about every 1 second, he's doing 164. So, I mean, it's definitely going to take them a little bit to get through here. And so, plus maybe the fire on this Vulcan could help take him out too. That was my other shot. I knew he was going to do something about this. I just need to clear off chaff so my Vulcans can get through. Oh, sorry, not the Vulcans, but so the Wasps can get through. This Rhino probably could have been sold a while ago too. Added some extra cash. I could have maybe picked up some more Wasps. But, I mean, all around, it was just blunder after blunder, kind of just trying to do stuff, maybe committing to the Tarantulas too much. Got one up to rank 3. But, like, other than that, they still weren't really clearing this board. I mean, they're not going to do anything against a fortress, especially with the fortress with the shield. It's got almost 100k life. They're doing, like, just about 2,000. Even with the spider mines, like, these things just take it out. He has an arc light, takes out the other one. So all around, just bad chaff clear, and then just not answering his stuff every single round. But if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and leave a like and subscribe. If you want to check some live Mechabellum gameplay, you can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/fab4200, and I hope you have a great day.